I'll start. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and salam sejahtera to our speakers and all the audience. Okay, I would like to say thanks to everyone here in this room for virtually joining us via online platform Zoom meeting today. Okay, first of all, I am Siti Nurhidayah binti Arifin, the moderator for session 2 of the FTK publication webinar program, which is entitled Tips and Trick for Publishing in Scopus Proceedings. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, okay, before I pass the mic to our speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Ali Sophian, let me give a short brief of his interesting background. Okay, Associate Professor Dr. Ali Sophian is a head of Kuliah of Engineering at International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM, also known as University Islam Antarabangsa Malaysia, which is located in Gombak, Selangor. Is it, Prof?
Yes, correct.
Okay, I moved to his academic background. Okay, Prof has done his PhD and bachelor degree in electrical and engineering at University of Huddersfield in UK, United Kingdom. Is it correct, Prof?
Yes, that's correct.
Engineer, electrical and engineering, right? Okay.
Electronics.
As
Electronics.
yeah. Okay, as I read your background, your academic background, there is no information to master's study. So it means that you are doing a fast track PhD, Prof?
Yes, correct. Yeah, after my degree, I finished my degree, then I started my PhD straight away.
Okay, very good. Okay, so the next is current research interest. Okay, Prof. His current research interest is electrical, engineering and technology, and electrical and electronic engineering. Is it correct, Prof?
Yeah, I'm still in the electronics, basically electronics.
Okay. Actually, I love to highlight the research interest of the speakers, because maybe after this, if anyone here in this room have a similar research interest with Prof. Ali, maybe after this you can personally contact him for collaboration, for guidance, or yeah, we want to widen our networking, and also we want to strengthen our research, right? And I also don't want that our interaction only end for today. I want, when we are doing this program, I want the interaction is continuous. Maybe after this, maybe someone here or anyone here can contact Prof personally. Is it okay for that, Prof? If
Sure.
anyone here
Yes,
contact
very
you
much
for
welcome. Yeah, we'd like
oh,
collaboration. That's true.
I'm glad to I'm glad to hear that. Okay, actually, I am not a major in electrical engineering, but last time when I'm doing my PhD, there is a only little bit of electrical. I used to work electrochemical in electrochemical, but only just minor thing. Or maybe after this, maybe if I want to work on electrical or electronic, maybe I can contact Prof.
Yes, sure.
Can
But
I? Okay.
electrical and electronics is a very broad discipline. But yeah,
Okay.
we can discuss, and if that's not really my field, then I will try to find my other colleagues from the faculty.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, and so okay, without any further, I would like to welcome our speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Ali Sophian, to share the tips and trick for publishing in Scopus Proceeding. Okay, please, Prof. The room is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Siti Nurhidayah Arifin.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Ya, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. greeting to all of you in this fine morning. Alhamdulillah, assalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. This is still in Ramadan, so for those who are fasting today, Ramadan Mubarak for all of you. Okay, first of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to the UTHM, especially the Faculty Teknologi Kejuruteraan, for giving me this chance to share. I already told Dr. Huda that I'm not an expert, but if it is for sharing, yes, I'd love to share. So I can share, and also part of my learning as well. By sharing, then I can learn, and I have to read again about the things that I'd like to present and share with you today, inshallah. And also thank you, Dr. Siti Noridaya Arifin, for the kind introduction about me. I will maybe touch a bit later on as well on my research work. And yes, I think this kind of event is good for us for knowing each other, and then we can probably develop some collaboration in the future. Yeah, inshallah. Okay, so yes, this is the title, as kind of given by Dr. Huda to me last time. So it's about basically about publishing, publishing in Scopus Index Proceedings, which is interesting because most of the time we are talking about journals, but the topic that for this talk today or for this sharing today is publishing in Scopus Index Proceedings. And I already told Dr. Huda that even my proceedings publication is only a few. But again, yeah, for sharing, maybe there is something, I hope there's something, one or two things that the audience here, both staff or even students especially, can grab, and then can make the best use of it, inshallah. Okay, and let me see if I can. Okay, this is basically going to be the contents. I will give, some introduction as well about my department, and then about my research, and then we are going to talk about the publishing in proceedings, specifically Scopus Index Proceedings. But I might go a bit beyond it, because otherwise this talk is going to last only for 5 minutes. So I will go a bit beyond it, about beyond Scopus Index Proceedings publication, so that I hope the information still be useful and still related to this. So yes, IIUM, as Dr. Hidayah already mentioned, is located in Gombak, in Selangor, just outside Kuala Lumpur. So I myself live in Kuala Lumpur, but the campus is in Selangor. But if only take me less than 10 minutes to drive to the campus, so it's very nearby. Yeah, so right at close to the boundary between the border between Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, our department is offering this programs, for firstly Bachelor in Mechatronics Engineering. So this is the only program that we are offering. We have 7 departments in the kuliah, in the faculty, and our department only offering Mechatronics Engineering for the bachelor degree. For Masters in Mechatronics, we have 3 modes: coursework, mixed mode, and research, and full research. And then we offer also PhD. We've got about 30 academic staff in our department. Okay, and we believe that Mechatronics Engineering department actually is the first department, first Mechatronics Engineering department in Malaysia. We were established back in 1978. Although the Bachelor in Mechatronics Engineering program itself, we started offering it in the Faculty of Engineering, started offering it back in 1994. Okay, and yeah, these are the 4 research groups. We have 4 research groups, actually 3 research groups, which are Autonomous Systems and Robotics Research Unit. And then we have Intelligent Mechatronic System Research Unit, or IMSRU. The first one is, we call it ASRU. And then the third one is Healthcare Engineering and Rehabilitation Research Group, or HER. Okay, so these three research units and research group are working on related to anything mechatronics, robotics, machine vision, autonomous systems, and so on and so forth. There are some overlapping within the groups, but each of these also got its own niche areas. And the fourth one is the Center of Unmanned Technology, or CUTE. It's actually under the kuliah, under the faculty. We call our faculty kuliah, which is an Arabic word. But it's equivalent to faculty. So Center of Unmanned Technologies is under the kuliah. However, most of its members, researchers, including the chairman, are from our department, mechatronics, and the scope, the areas where it's working is very closely related to mechatronics as well. And the picture on the left is one of example of the product, which is a Medibot, which became a national news during the pandemic last year, I think, or 2 years ago. This was the result of the work of the CUTE, Center of Unmanned Technologies at the time. Okay. Okay, and my own research currently, I can say that the two major areas, which is the first one is pulse eddy current NDT, which is mainly on the sensor development and the signal processing of it. And the second one is road surface inspection. This is done by using a machine vision and machine learning or deep learning. Yeah, I've got currently FRGS on road surface inspection, and for the pulse eddy current, I have currently PRDS. Previously, the FRGS already completed for that one. Okay. Yes, so yes, if anyone working in something similar, especially machine vision and machine learning is very, very hot today, and the applications is everywhere. You can, this is, for example, like civil engineering, and it can be used in transportation, can be used in medical applications, and so on and so forth. So yes, it's open for us to have collaboration, and it's not only me. There are many of my other colleagues as well. They are working in machine vision and machine learning. Okay, so before I start, can I have a quick survey first? I'd like to know how many publications that you have. Maybe you are all already experienced, or all of you, most of you are beginners. I'd like to know. Can you just visit this slido.com and then enter this number 2556114, and then you can have your vote in there. I hope you can access it. I'm not sure if you're having only one device, maybe a bit difficult to see the Zoom screen and visit the Slido website as well at the same time. Anyone has entered, or actually,
can you put
you can, maybe it's easier. Sorry, yes.
Can you put the link on the chat box so easy for us to access?
Yeah, where is the chat box? I found it.
Below.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sharing with, so I cannot really see the chat.
The link.
Okay, let me see. I should go here. Okay, I cannot still find the chat box here.
Wait. Okay, can you see the icon at the bottom? Icon at the bottom.
Okay, hold on.
That's showing the, yeah. Can you?
Yeah, view. Okay, I can find it now. I found it.
All right.
Okay. And the number was? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so you can 2556114. Or you can also type in the chat box if you want your answer. It's okay as well. Oh.
Yeah, I think you can type, the participant can type the answer on the chat box.
Right. Okay. All right, okay, but at least there are already 5, I think, 5 votes in the Slido, and currently it's showing that only one of you, only one of you that haven't got any publication at all. So apparently the majority of you already have some publications, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you for those who have done the votes and also give the answer on the chat box. Okay, thanks. Okay, I think that's enough. Yeah, I think I've got the picture. No, I think it seems most of you already have your publication, so I can just go through the site very quickly, and then we can just basically some discussion about if you have anything to ask, or we can or to share as well. Yeah. Okay, so okay, as I said, because most of you already done a publication anyway, so the reason why we publish, I think we know already. Philosophically, is through this writing and publishing, we as human beings, we develop the knowledge base, yeah, and then we'd like to contribute to it, and our contribution to it by publication, hopefully we can expand the boundary of knowledge. Yeah. Okay, that's and then more closer to us, yeah, some of the benefits that we can get. Yeah. First of all, we are contributing to the world. We are in terms of the results, yeah, sharing our result experiment. Then we develop our research profile. Yeah, something one of the measure or the metric is H index. And interestingly, there's no difference in terms of H index. The proceeding or journal publications carry the same value. So this is probably one of the benefits of publication through Scopus index proceedings rather than journal, because journal is generally more difficult. However, in terms of H index, we don't discriminate between the two. And then it's also a measure of the quality of our research, yeah? And then a way of getting back for our research. Sometimes our work are cited by others, or because after they're reading through our paper, and then they may have some comment on our work in their papers that are going to be published later on. Okay, and for some of us who are still studying, this will be a requirement for graduation. I'm not sure what is the exact requirements in UTHM, especially in the FTK, but in ours, it depends on the mode. Yeah? For research mode, we call it a publication equivalent. So we need a publication equivalent of 1.0. 1.0, so we have different types of publications. For example, like Scopus Index Journal is the score is 1. So if you have one Scopus Index Journal, then that's already met the requirement for graduation in research mode. Okay, but for Scopus Index Proceeding, I think the score is 0.5, if I'm mistaken, 0.5. Okay, okay, so there are different scores for different types of publication. Okay, for us who are lecturers, I think that could be part of our annual KPIs, yeah? And then another benefit, obviously, our satisfactions once our submission already accepted for publications. There is strong certification in there. You'll be very satisfied. You're very happy. And then yes, later stages, after you've done after we've got our submission published, for it help us in our further study. For example, like getting scholarships. Many among our students here in UIA, they try to get publications because of this reason. They want to continue a study in certain countries where they offer scholarships. However, they require the students to have some publication. So this is one of the reasons. And then getting a job, especially in, I guess, in academia or research-based jobs, this will be also very useful. For lecturers like us, like some of us, it's also helped us in getting research grants. Yeah. The track record of our publication is very important when we try to apply for research grants. And then obviously for promotion as well. Yeah, for the promotion, parts of the, I believe it's the same in UTHM. Part of the requirements will be our publications. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and on this slide here, I'd like to highlight specifically what is the benefits of publishing through proceedings. On the previous slide, it's more general publication, but this one is more specific that I can think of. What are the benefits of publishing in proceedings? Yeah? I mean, this here, obviously, proceedings always related to a conference, yeah? Associated to a conference. So first, the benefits will be, the benefits of attending a conference itself will be included in there. Yeah? So once you what it goes, submit either an abstract or a full paper to a conference, then if it is accepted, then you can join the conference. Yeah. In normal time, it will be face-to-face, but nowadays, after we got the pandemic, it's also quite common to have the hybrid modes where the conference organizers offer the attendance to either attend it face-to-face or online or virtual. So we have the, and yes, some of the benefits of attending conference, obviously you again broaden your networks. You can meet other people, you can discuss ideas with other people, and so on and so forth. This is one of the benefits of the conference. And then publishing in proceedings can be cheaper compared to publishing in a journal. Yeah. Although this is not always the case, because some journals, many journals actually, also offer zero APC, yeah? Zero publication charge. So yeah, it can be cheaper, but it can be more expensive as well, depending on how to which journal you compare it to. However, I think the ballpark figures for attending a conference, if it is face-to-face, if it is national level within Malaysia, about 1,500, is it? Something like that, 1,000, 1,500. But if it is online, virtual, you can get it less than 1,000 ringgit. Okay, and then yeah, it's generally easier compared to a journal, yeah, and easier in terms of the way you write it, yeah, because you don't have to go into details. You can, and also, for example, if you are doing research, you haven't fully achieved your objective, you can still write it into a paper, and then you can submit it to a conference. And most of, well, depending on the conference, some of conference are not that rigorous, and they can accept our publication, our submissions more easily. Okay, so this will be one of the tips. When you choose conference, depending on what your objective is if it is only, for example, like Scopus index proceedings, yeah, you don't have to go to, not necessarily go to the high reputable conferences. Some of conferences that organized by universities, by faculties, they can be less reputable. However, they have good publications, yeah, and as Scopus index proceeding. And generally speaking, they can accept your paper easily because there's less competition in there. When the conference is smaller and less popular, the number of submissions normally less than, for example, like IEEE conferences. So the competition in there is less as well. And then your paper can, in general, and more easily accepted, yeah, by the organizers. Okay, and another benefit, I think, is a faster acceptance normally, yeah, compared to journal. Journal takes a long time, especially the free ones, before they can tell you that they accept the paper. But for conference, normally very quick, maybe less than 1 month or even a few weeks, you can already get the answer whether your paper or your submission is accepted or not. Okay, and yes, I'd like to highlight that when it comes to H index is again, as I said, is basically a metric, yeah, to show the productivity of a researcher, and also in a way, not just productivity, but also the quality of the publication of a researcher. So two things, productivity, i.e. in terms of the number of publications, because if you have one publication only, even if it is very highly cited, even 1,000 or 10,000, your H index will still be only one. If you want to increase our H index, we need to increase both the number of publications, and also somehow we need to get high enough number of citations as well, i.e. our works is cited by other researchers in their work, in their papers. Okay, so these two have to go hand in hand. Okay, and yes, when it comes to H index, again, then the benefit is for the publication in proceeding is considered as the same as publication is in journal. So they are not, we cannot see the difference in that. They are treated in the same way. Okay, okay, and while this H index is can be useful in promotion and hiring. When you apply for a job, or for us who apply for promotion, this H index can be considered. It depends on the institution, obviously. In my institution, if you want to promote to full professor, for example, there is a requirement for certain H index. Okay, and this is the research and publication cycle. Just to give us some illustration of how there's the steps that we need to go through. So basically, before we start research, we start with a problem, a question, hypothetical question, or the problem statement, and then we carry the research, and then conduct the research, get the results, and then do the analysis of the results, write it in an article, and then submit either to conference or a journal. Then normally we get some feedback, and we revise it, and then finally it gets published. When it's published, again, it will be starting a new cycle, because normally there is a further work. What is next? So there will be next problem, next question to be solved, and so on. So the cycle keep going. Okay, I'd like to give some motivation, because Dr. Huda told me that basically just for sharing his publication and his H index is a lot higher than me. So I told him, why don't you just present it yourself? He said that to get some fresh perspective and to give motivation. So I'll just to give a bit of motivation, especially this is for those who are just starting. I want to give some motivation based on my own experience in publication. Okay, the picture on the right, this is my supervisor. I did my PhD, like Dr. Hidayah said, that in Huddersfield University. And my supervisor was Professor Nguyen Tian. At the time, I was his first student. So he just embarked his career as academia in the UK. At that time, he just finished his PhD in Derby University. Okay, so he was originally from China, mainland China. At the time, so he was maybe he just been there for, I don't know, 3-4 years in the UK. Okay, but he was very ambitious. He was working very hard, and his work was very paper oriented. So that's why 3 months into my PhD, he already asked me to write a paper. Okay? And as I think we all know that when we just embark research, then it's a good time to write literature review, and that literature review can be generally published as a review paper. And this is exactly what we did. So we wrote a review paper, and this is the title: Electromagnetic and Eddy Current NDT Review. Again, as I said, I think I started writing this in 3 months, but it's published 2 months after in a British journal. So in terms of the UK, there's a local journal. However, it was a Q2. For those who are not really familiar, all these journals are grouped together in 4 different categories: Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, based on the quartile, based on the performance. So Q1 meanings it's in the top 25% among all these journals that are indexed. So only those who are indexed that are considered in this ranking. So Q2 meanings is the second quarter, meanings it's better than at least 50% of the journal. Okay, and as I said, because he was really paper oriented, publication oriented, so yeah, it was pushing me so much to write papers. So during my PhD, we managed to write 3 journal papers, 2 Q1 and 1 Q2. The Q2 is this one here, and the other 2 are Q1. And all were free. None of these were paid. I think at that time it wasn't as popular as now. Nowadays you have IEEE access in engineering, IEEE access, MDPI census, and so many things that are very efficient in giving us the feedback and getting to the decision of acceptance, but they cost so much. So they cost a fortune, like $2,000, something like that. Okay, and then during the same time, I managed to have 3 conference papers. Okay, so this is back in how many years ago? 24 years ago. Okay, now closer to now, just my first graduating PG student, his name is Faris Nafia. He was from Terengganu. He started, I think, back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. He was doing this project under FRGS. He was doing so excellently in terms of publication. Although I didn't push him that much, but it based on his own motivation, because he did want to be joining academia afterward. That was his planning anyway. Although now he's not in academia, he's working in a research institution in the UK. Okay, he was with me for masters, not PhD, not even PhD. But for publication, he did manage 4 journals: 1 Q1, 1 Q2, and 2 Q3, and 1 conference paper. He co-authored. Actually, he was not the main author for this, but another student was, but he was helping. Okay, and this was achieved within 18 months of study. Within 18 months of study, he did his PhD within 3 semesters only. Because he got bored very easily. He didn't want to stay too that long, and then the funding also it was for 18 months. I think for the well, the funding actually a bit more, but he wanted to finish early, so he did manage to submit his thesis before 18 months. Okay, okay. So this is I'm just giving you this example that especially for those who haven't done any publication, that it is possible. Yeah. So publication in Scopus Index Proceeding is, inshallah, is very, very doable. Yeah. So nothing to worry about this. As long as we do our research, our experiment, we get some results, then we can write a paper based on the experiments that we have done and the data that we have obtained. Okay, and again, I think this slides, again, I'm sorry that it is more suitable for those who haven't really done publications. So this is, I can say this based on difficulty levels. Start from the non-index proceeding, the Scopus index proceedings, non-index journal is there. It's very more difficult. Can be, but it can be just comparable to Scopus index proceedings. Then you've got my site index journal, maybe more difficult. And then you've got Scopus, and then WOS index. Some of these are not some of these can be overlapping. IIUM index journal will be a Scopus index journal as well most of the time. In most cases, maybe, or even every journal that is Scopus WOS index will be a Scopus index journal as well. Okay. Yes. Although this is the kind of the hierarchy, but however, in some of the although, for example, non-index and Scopus index can be comparable, in terms of KPI, maybe it's different. They give different scorings. In my institution, non-index journal, I think considered to in Myra. So if it is Myra, then it may be applicable to all other institutions as well in Malaysia. Non-index journal is 0.7 the mark, while index journal is 1.0. And meaning that the difference is not that much, and but non-index journal is higher than proceedings. Yeah. If definitely for non-index, I'm pretty sure for Scopus index proceeding, also non-index journal brings as well a higher score. Meaning that also if you have choices, if you don't have to go through Scopus index journal proceedings, you might want to opt for non-index journal, because there are many non-index journal who are new. Yeah, they are new, but they need submissions. There are many examples. We just ran a conference last year, our department, which is International Conference on Mechatronics. And in our conference, we offered 3 journals, non-index journals, and 1 proceeding. So the submissions will be from the participant will be submitted will be published in one of these, and they can choose. They can choose, although if they I mean, for their first choice, if it is not accepted, then it will be submitted. The default is goes back to the proceeding. Okay. But the proceeding was quite good actually. It's IT proceeding. IT is Institute of Engineering and Technology, which is just like IEEE, but this is a UK version of IEEE. The only reason is not, well, it wasn't indexed by Scopus yet, because it's just recently introduced, I think 2 years ago. But I believe, and they also believe, it will be indexed by Scopus very soon, or maybe it's already now. I'm not sure. I've heard it's already now indexed by Scopus. Okay, so yes, this non-index. So we offered 3 non-index journals. One is based in Malaysia, and the other 2 was based in Indonesia. So and this is again showing that some of the journals are actually not very, because they are new, they can relatively easier to accept our publication as well. And in terms of scoring for your KPI, maybe it's higher than proceedings, so something that you can consider. Okay, these are some examples of well-known proceedings in engineering. We've got lecture notes in electrical engineering, lecture notes in mechanical engineering, for example, and then IET conference proceedings, AIP conference proceedings, IOP conference series. Some of these are Scopus index, some are not. Yeah, I have to say, then we need to check. And being indexed in Scopus is not fixed. Yeah, it can be indexed this year or this time, but in the following year it might not. It might be removed from the list, yeah, because of the performance, or by the evaluation by the Scopus, probably showing that they are not really meeting their requirements anymore, so they can get removed from the from the list. Yeah. IOP, for example, when we offered our conference back in 2017, it was indexed by Scopus, yeah, but last year it wasn't. So that's why we didn't opt for this IOP conference series last time. So yeah, this is fluctuating. Yeah. They may get indexed again if they can improve their performance. Okay, and the top 2, although the name doesn't carry proceedings, doesn't say proceedings, but they are in many institutions they are considered as proceedings. So, for example, if I have a publication in lecture notes in electrical engineering, during the evaluation by my boss, this will be considered as a proceeding, not a journal. Okay. Okay, some of the differences between proceeding and journal. Proceeding is shorter normally, and journal can be longer. There's a minimum requirement of the number of pages there. And then a proceeding is got normally a faster acceptance decision. Journal can take longer, especially the free one, free APC. Can take yes, many months, or even longer than 1 year. However, there are some very efficient now that can give their review very fast, but they are relatively expensive. Okay, the review is less rigorous for proceedings. And again, in some conferences, if they don't have enough submissions, they like it or not, they reduce the requirement, and then they can accept paper that are not as good as what is required actually by the conference. Okay, however, yeah, it can be more expensive, it can be cheaper. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say, but yes, generally speaking, we are talking about 1,000, 1,500 for attending a conference. That's include the proceedings. Okay, when we want to choose a conference, when we look at the publication, there are many different mechanisms, how they different types and mechanisms as well. They can have journal publications. They can have also proceedings publications. So we need to read on their website or their posters, what are actually their publications. And then when it comes to journal, it can be multiple meanings that they can offer different. It's quite common, I think, nowadays. They offer different 2 or 3 different journals. 2 or 3, and some of them only offer one single journal. But generally speaking, not every submission or accepted submission will be published on those journals, only the selected one. So we need to carefully also read the terms and conditions. Yeah, I have to admit that I made mistakes once. We thought that our paper will be published in a journal. That journal was quite expensive. We paid already. However, it wasn't that published in the journal, only in the proceedings. Okay, and some of these journals can be indexed, some can be non-indexed. But yeah, it's quite a challenge for a journal to nowadays to accept publications through through conferences. Some journal they have special issue, but the problem with the special issue that can get negative evaluation from the indexing bodies like Scopus. So they don't really like this. So many journal, when they want to keep or maintain their quality, they will reject. They will reject collaboration with conferences, including our IIUM. IIUM also have a journal, engineering journal, which is Scopus index, and I think now it's in Q2 and also already started to be in the WOS, but in the emerging citation list. Okay, so yes, this is quite strict. They don't want to accept publication through conferences. Okay, and the other type is proceedings. And again, proceedings, some of them are indexed, some of them are not. Some of them can be published by a publisher. It can also be published by the conference organizer itself. And then it may be offered with journal, just like the ICOM conference that I told you about earlier, when we offered both journal and proceeding publications. Okay, so these are different types, and this is just to give us some illustration of the process, the peer review process, how our paper will be reviewed before it's eventually get published. This is for a journal as well, actually. However, it's quite similar. So we submit our article, our paper, or for journal, for conference. Many conferences offer you to or invite you to submit an abstract first. Submit an abstract first, and then when it's accepted, then you will be invited to submit the full paper. Okay, and this will be reviewed by some reviewers, and they will give you feedback. Some of them will get accepted straight away. But most of the time you'll get some reviews that need some revisions to be done. So after you've done the revision and you submit again, then it will be reviewed. Again, can be accepted at that point, or it can be again sent back to you for another review. However, for conference, generally, I think 2 rounds is generally is the maximum. 2 rounds of review, i.e. by the second time, when they review, they will accept your paper. Okay, and then it will be, after that, yeah, if this conference, obviously, then we need to present it first during the conference, before that it can be published either in a proceeding or in a journal. Right, and then how do you find conferences? You can use Google, yeah, search engine, yeah, just type a conference and the topic that you want, and maybe with the name of the location that you like to go to as well. Or you can use this specific conference website. There are a few of them at least. Yeah, this conference alerts, all conference alert. Then IEEE also has its own, and so on. Okay, another way, obviously, you can ask your supervisors. Yeah, you can ask our colleagues and friends and so on. Especially for if these conferences are run regularly, either every year or every 2 years. Yeah, and then we can get this information from our supervisors and our colleagues. Yeah. Okay, there are things that we need to consider when we want to find the right conference. First of all, is obviously the scope. This is probably the the most important thing. Was it suitable or not for your research? Otherwise, you might waste your time. We submit our paper or abstract, but it gets rejected, saying that it's not relevant to our conference. Yeah. So, to make sure it's the right, it's got the right scope. And the scope also determines it's very what we call important for us when we want to build our network with the right people. You might find a conference that will accept your paper. However, when you go there, you don't find the right people that you want to have network with. Yeah, maybe some for example, some conference based on mechanical engineering, specific area in mechanical engineering. I can submit my paper in there, although my paper is actually machine vision or deep learning, which is more towards electronics normally or computing, but I can submit it to that conference. It can get accepted, but when we go there, maybe you don't find the people who are working in the similar areas as you. Less, even if you find, there will be less number of people. So you need to look into the scope as well. Make sure that if you want to build your networking, the scope is the relevant one. Yeah? And then the location, is it affordable to go there and so on? Is it something that where you go to, what you want to go to? Yeah, it's normally quite a strong reason as well. People want to go to some location and they find the conference in that place, in that city or in that country, as long as we got the fund for it. Okay, and nowadays, as mentioned before, that many also offer in hybrid mode, meaning that you can choose whether you want to attend it physically or virtually. When we attend it virtually, then the benefit it's less hassle. You don't have to spend time to go to that place to book your flight, book your hotel, and so on. You can do it from anywhere. And normally it's also the fee, the registration fee is also cheaper, significantly cheaper actually. Okay, our faculty also offering, our faculty are offering a congress every year. This congress has several conferences. So this year also we do it in a hybrid mode. So participants can come physically or they can join virtually. And so another thing that you want to consider is the time. Is it the right time or not? Depending on what's your requirement. Okay, and then about the fee. For those who are running a project under research grant, then you can claim it from the research grant normally. And also some of you are, if you are a student, there can be some allowance to attend a conference, which is also applicable in IIUM. Right, and then publication again, very important. Please look at it carefully, learn it, study it carefully. Whether it's all or selected only that will be published in a certain journal or proceeding. And it is published in journal or proceeding that they are not predatory publications. Many conferences actually offer publications that are listed in this what it's called as a predatory journals. And as I mentioned before, if because of the requirement of your graduation of your degree or your postgraduate degree, you might, because you have limited time, then you might also consider less reputable conferences. Just if you want, the target is just to get your publication submitted and published. Although this is not recommended, generally speaking, but if time is the constraint, then you might want to consider this. Okay, because yes, we've been running as an organizer as well as IIUM, so we've gone through this as well. That we have to accept that sometimes that when the number of submissions is less. Okay, some general tips. Yeah, when you want to submit a paper for conference, make sure we use the template provided by the conference. Yeah, not to so that we save our time. Otherwise, we follow some certain template, but later on we need to change the layout, the formatting. And then, yeah, this is everything, just general tips in writing. Yeah. Time block during writing. Some people find it difficult. Yeah. You've got so many what they call disturbances. Yeah, when you're especially nowadays with the gadgets everywhere, we cannot get focused enough. So one of the things that has been recommended for us when we write, we time block. So we reserve specific time, then we just focus, use that time focusedly on writing our paper. Yeah, to make sure that we don't delay until then. If we keep delaying, that we might lose the motivation. Okay, and yes, normally when we write, it's not going to end in one session, but we have to attend it as we have to sit several times, many days, in fact, so that there'll be breaks in between. So this is a good tip, I think. Take notes what you want to do next to help you start again next time, so we don't, to make sure we don't forget where we were and then what we wanted to do, what we wanted to write. And then another tips, I think here is keywords are very important. Many people are looking into, we call it as impact factor. So they're targeting journals with impact factors. However, in my experience, that's not necessarily the case. The scope of our project, and the keywords that we put in there can have significant impact. Once I published a paper through a conference, which is pretty much not a popular conference. It was run by I would say as a less reputable, not reputable, but not so popular institution in Indonesia. It's not even Scopus Index. Yeah, but surprisingly, it was cited by several authors, several researchers, even when their paper was published in a Q1 paper. So this paper was just published in the proceeding of the conference. It's not Scopus Index. It's not indexed by not even by Indonesian indexing body. But still, the paper was then cited by several researchers. Some of them are in the UK. Okay. Yeah, good revising many times. This is the challenge. We need to go through our article that we think we have finished several times, revise and revise again to make sure that we haven't missed anything. In terms of grammatical errors. In terms of the sequence of the details and the information that we put in, and so on. So we need to go through this. Okay, I think okay. Just last one. I think just final one. Can I go back? Yeah, I cannot go. Yeah, so just conclusion, last slide is actually just conclusion. So publishing in a Scopus Index proceeding, I think is very doable, and every one of us can do. Yeah, also including those who haven't done any publication yet so far. And then this Scopus Index Proceeding publication can be useful for us both in for our study and also for our career as a lecturer or researcher, inshallah. Okay, I think that's how with that I end my presentation, my sharing. Then I return back to the Dr. Hidayah. Thank you.